Joining me now from our nation's capital is Washington Bureau Chief at Bloomberg News, Peggy Collins, to fill us in on what's happening next week in Washington. Welcome, Peggy, and it's always an adventure in Washington, so what's up next week?
That's right, John. Thanks so much for having me. We're expecting another big week in Washington next week, coming off the heels of this week where we had quite a lot of economic news. We'll be rounding the bend on the end of the third quarter next week, and we'll be looking out for economic data reports to come in at the end of that quarter, particularly around personal income and spending and consumer sentiment. So we've gotten a lot of data over the course of the month that shows that the economy may be showing signs of some strains, but unemployment is still particularly low at about 4.3%. So where we're really looking to see is if consumers are starting to close up their pocketbooks because of the continuation of rising prices in some areas like gasoline and electricity. So that will be one area that we're really looking at next week.
So Peggy, I noticed that on the inflation front, that the numbers ticked up a little bit. How is that impacting things?
That's right. So I think it's one thing that the administration and economic officials across the country are watching closely. We did see on several fronts on household goods and prices like electricity, gasoline, some of the things that Americans deal with every single day did tick up in August. And that's a sign that potentially it could make it harder for Americans to balance like the economic needs that they have with rising prices. It's also been one of the key things that the White House has been trying to combat. Another thing to keep on the lookout for next week is we had a Fed decision in Washington this week, and the Fed is really responsible for trying to manage inflation and unemployment. And one of the things we'll be looking for next week is Fed officials to come out and speak about their decision on interest rates this week in Washington. A key person that we'll be looking out for is Stephen Miron. Stephen Miron joined the Fed board for the first time this week after being confirmed by the Senate, and he will be hopefully sharing his views about what he decided on the Fed decision day and what he thinks about the economy as a new member of the Fed board.
So lastly, as you're speaking about economics, what's going to be an impact, if any, on the economy if we have another shutdown or another continuing resolution up in Congress?
Well, certainly, John, we've been through this a number of times where Congress brings us up to the deadline on something like a shutdown and then they get it resolved. I do think we're at a moment in the economy here, as we've been reporting at Bloomberg, where things are starting to show some signs of strain, although the economy is holding up on the jobs front relatively well. So we will be looking for any signs that that shutdown, and if it does happen, hits in terms of an impact on jobs or people's income. That will be really where the rubber will hit the road.
So Peggy, thanks so much for your insight, and we'll see you next time.